I am finally living a life that in my 20s and early 30s, I only dreamed about. My relationship, my career, where I live, the ability to be able to do things and have experiences that I have always wanted to have, and basically just be able to live life on my own terms. But for the longest time, it felt like my dreams were so far away, and it was because there were some things that I had to unlearn in order to be able to get there. So if you're feeling like you're stuck as you're trying to make moves happen in your life, listen up because you might find yourself in one or more of these areas. Welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Christy and I make content centered around realizing no matter where we are in life, no matter our age, we are just on time to live the life of our dreams. I share these things from my own experiences, the changes that I needed to make and the things that I realized were keeping me stuck in a space that I didn't want to be in. The other day I was thinking about how far I've come and how blessed my life is and how thankful I am for where I am. And I realized that there were some deeply ingrained things that I had to unlearn in order to start seeing progress. These were mindsets that for whatever reason, I thought that they were the way to start getting ahead in life. And as I was living out those beliefs, I more kind of felt like I was just on this treadmill and I wasn't really making the moves that I was trying to make. Nothing was really happening. But when I started to rewire my brain about those things, that was when I actually started to see change. The first mindset that I had to unlearn is that everything is a competition. From childhood, we are all taught that only one person or one group can win the prize. In school, if you were anything like me, you were kind of duking it out for who was going to have the best grades. In PE, or if you grew up playing some level of sport, we're put on teams and there are winners and losers. The Olympics are about to come up and we know that not everybody, most people in fact, are not going to win a gold medal. When we start dating and we find a person that we like, we wonder, are we going to win their heart or are they going to like somebody else? When we start working, maybe we're up for a position that only one person can have. Competition and being competitive is so deeply ingrained within us, and oftentimes it comes out in our lives in spaces where competition isn't even like a factor. It took me a while to realize that when it comes to the things that God has for my life, I am not in competition with anybody. I am supposed to do what I'm supposed to do. I do my best and God does the rest. And yes, there's work that I have to do, but I don't have to fight for it. I have had the most peace and I've been the most blessed when my mind was focused on doing the things that I knew that I was supposed to do and then letting God bring that thing to me or letting him open that door for me instead of me trying to fight for it to work out. And that leads me to the next mindset that I had to unlearn, which is working harder will lead to better outcomes. As a type A girly, I believe in hard work, make the best grades, push myself to my limits, go that extra mile. And I recognize that I'm somewhat hardwired that way, but there is a difference between working hard and going beyond what you can actually do. And I realize that I don't have to push myself beyond my limit in order to be successful. In fact, many times that tendency has led to me only getting burned out and not actually getting to the outcomes that I wanted. For me, I realized that a lot of times I would push myself beyond my limits because there were times where I just didn't feel good enough. Am I smart enough? Am I pretty enough? Am I talented enough to deserve this whatever space that I'm trying to get into? I had to get to a point where I was like, girl, you are killing it. You are doing just fine, and really go back to that space of what God has for me is mine. I think so many times we get doing our best confused with being the best. And when we're focused on being the best, then we end up comparing ourselves to other people and constantly feeling like we need to do more in order to measure up or in order to be good enough. I remember when I first started YouTube, it took me so long to get in a good rhythm with making content because I had put all of this pressure on myself to be perfect with my video, be perfect with my editing, be perfect with my scripting, with all of the things. And it was not sustainable. Trying to do multiple videos a week, not getting enough sleep, and really just kind of stressing over it. But then also on the flip side, not even really seeing much growth that was happening from all of the effort that I was putting into it. And not just effort, really over effort that I was putting into it. It took me literally until last October. What month is it? July. So however many months ago October was, it took me until then to be like, no, I am not putting this unnecessary extra pressure on myself. I just can't do it anymore. And I was so focused on making it sustainable by putting boundaries around it, even if it wasn't perfect. And you know what? When I took the pressure off of myself, when I made it fit into my life instead of feeling like I had to work extra hard to quote unquote achieve, that was when things started to grow. Better outcomes did not come from me pushing myself beyond my limits. Better outcomes came from me working smarter, not working harder. Another mindset that I needed to unlearn was compartmentalizing my life. I naturally like things to fit in nice, neat little boxes in every part of my life. My emotions here, work here, relationships here, taking care of myself here. Like everything has its own space. But as I have grown up and I have had a lot more balls to juggle, it is a lot harder for me to maintain harmony throughout my life when I don't accept that the different parts of my life actually bleed into one another and things are a lot more connected than I have been given them credit for. Along with being a type A person, I am also a very extreme person. And when I am focused on something, I get laser focused on that thing. But what ends up happening is that I drop the balls in other areas of my life. For those of you who joined the Show Up Summer 60 challenge that we just ended like about a month ago, you noticed that we were working on goals and habits in different parts of our lives, in our faith, freedom, fitness, and finances, because we have to pay attention to our whole self. We cannot hyper prioritize one area and neglect the others and think that our lives are going to function the way that they're supposed to. When we realize that things are connected and we work with the lives that we're actually living, we can better meet the needs that we have in all areas of our lives. I should probably pay less. There was a season in my life where I was broke, like broke, and living paycheck to paycheck for years. Like I was able to eat and I was able to keep a roof over my head and pay my bills, but there was not a lot extra. And whenever there was, it seemed like something would be going wrong. Like my car would break down or whatever. And it was just a really rough time. And whenever I did have a little extra money to treat myself or buy something nice for my home or even just buy things that I needed but had been pushing off, the mindset was almost always having more is better. And more meant more quantity but lesser quality, or choosing the option that meant having more money left over. If you have been in a season where funds are pretty tight, once you come out of that season, it can be really easy to hold on to that mindset. But I realized that that mindset was keeping me stuck and it made me constantly feel like I could never have the thing that I really wanted. And it was this idea of choosing less, which led to me actually feeling like less. And I had a whole lot of less. I actually made a video about that I will link up here or up here, one of these places somewhere for you. But it took me a really long time to finally be okay getting rid of all of the less and actually step into the more that God had just waiting for me. And not in the way of a lifestyle creep, because that's not a wise thing to do, but an intentional focus on I'm able to afford this without it impacting my life. We have worked to put ourselves in a position to be able to do this and still have savings, still have money for retirement, and still do the things that are important. Now where I am, I would rather pay a little bit more to get exactly what I want, even if it means that I have to wait for it, rather than to get a whole bunch of stuff that I don't actually want. Another mindset is that I don't need help. So many times we equate getting help with failing or meaning that we're not good enough or whatever. And we let our pride get in the way of opportunities that could be available to us. We want to save face in front of people and act like we have it all together when in reality, we're drowning and not getting where we want to go. I used to feel so ashamed of asking people for help when I didn't have my life together because I felt like all I had was my pride and I was holding onto it for dear life. And the thing is, I'm not even talking about asking for money. Like I didn't want to ask people for anything. Do you need help with your bags? No. Do you need help learning this new job? Nope. Got it. Do you need help with XYZ? Nope. I am on it. And because I wanted so badly for people to think that I had it together, your girl was drowning. Things could have been so much easier if I had just accepted or even asked for the help that I needed. It took me a while to reframe my mindset and realize that help is actually part of the human experience. We all need help. We're not created to thrive in silos. It's why solitary confinement is one of the worst ways to punish somebody, because we're not designed to do this thing by ourselves. That mindset also translated into this thing where I wasn't advocating for myself really in any part of my life. I wasn't asking for what I needed at work. I wasn't asking for what I needed in relationships. And I was just making life so much harder for myself because the core was that I could not ask for help. Once I started being okay getting the help I needed and also being okay asking for it, I realized that it was easier to get to my dreams and easier to start doing the things that I needed to do, easier to walk into open doors because I did not have pride blocking my path anymore. So those are the mindsets that I had to unlearn in order to get to the life of my dreams. And it wasn't easy, but once I recognized them, I was able to start learning and adopting new mindsets that were actually beneficial to where it was that I was trying to go and the dreams that I was trying to create. Let me know in the comments if you've struggled with any of those or if you have any mindsets that you needed to unlearn so that we can all keep growing together. Also, if you're not subscribed, like, what are you doing? I'm gonna need you to jump on that. Alrighty guys, I love you and I will see you in my next. Bye for now.